Corporations are stealing from you, and they're doing it right under your nose. That's not a metaphor. It's not some abstract critique. It's a simple fact, hidden in plain sight on every shelf, in every bright, shiny package you pick up without a second thought. They're giving you less and less and charging you the same. Sometimes even more. Look around you. That bar of chocolate you used to love? It's smaller now. The bag of chips you tear open on a long day? Half air, half crumbs. The fancy coffee that promised to fuel your morning? It's been trimmed down ounce by ounce, and every time you pay that same price, you're not just buying a product, you're buying a lie. This is shrinkflation. And it's not an accident. It's not about inflation alone. It's not some invisible force of nature. It's a conscious choice by the powerful for the powerful, a decision to take a little more from you each time, to fill their pockets while yours slowly empty. But here's the part they really don't want you to see. It's not just your groceries that are getting smaller. It's your dignity, your sense of fairness, your faith that what you're paying for is what you're actually getting. Because once they've taught you to accept less in your shopping cart, it's easier for them to make you accept less in every part of your life. Less respect at work, less honesty in your relationships, less time to breathe, to think, to be fully human. That's the real cost of shrinkflation. It's not measured in grams or ounces. It's measured in the quiet ways you're taught to settle for less. And it's a cost that's adding up every single day. So, let's tear the mask off this game. Let's talk about how corporations turn illusions into profits. Let's talk about why you've been taught to be okay with empty promises. And most importantly, let's talk about how to fight back. Because this video isn't just about consumer products. It's about your life, your worth, and the world they're hoping you'll never question. Are you ready to see what they're really taking from you? Shrinkflation. It's the kind of word that sounds like it belongs in a textbook, but you've probably seen it every single day. Picture this. You walk into the gas station, grab your favorite chocolate bar, same shiny wrapper, same brand, but now it's suspiciously lighter in your hand. You rip it open, and there it is. Less chocolate, same price tag. The weight shaved off as if you wouldn't notice. That's shrinkflation, products quietly shrinking while prices stay put. A sleight of hand, really. It's not magic, though. It's manipulation. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's pause and really feel this moment. Because it's not just about that chocolate bar, is it? It's about a world that's getting emptier while telling you it's still full. It's about illusions replacing substance everywhere you look. You see it in the family pack of chips that barely fills a bowl. You see it in the coffee jar that promises a month of caffeine but leaves you with a week's worth. And you see it in that sinking feeling in your gut, like something's been stolen from you. It's the perfect metaphor for our time, isn't it? This game of appearances, big promises, thin delivery. It's as if we're living in a theater of abundance, but behind the curtain, it's all just cardboard. The chocolate bar is just the start. Think of it as a signpost for the deeper illusions we've come to accept. And that's where the philosophy kicks in. Baudrillard would call this a simulacrum, copies of copies that have no original, just endless echoes. Nietzsche might say we've flipped our values upside down. What once was about true worth is now about looking like you've got it all. But that's the part no one tells you. The world is quietly downsizing your life, 1 gram at a time, and calling it progress. Here's the truth. Shrinkflation isn't just a business tactic. It's a symptom of a system that values profit over honesty, a system that banks on you being too busy, too polite, too tired to notice that you're getting less for the same price. So, let me ask you, when was the last time you looked at what you're truly getting? Not just in your shopping cart, but in your job, your relationships, your day-to-day routine. When was the last time you paused and said, "Hold on, why am I settling for less and paying more?" Because this is about more than chocolate bars and cereal boxes. It's about a quiet erosion of trust. And once that trust is gone, what's left? This right here, is the thesis of everything we're about to explore. Shrinkflation isn't just a market trick. It's a reflection of a system that's more interested in padding its pockets than in giving you real value. A reflection of a world that's traded truth for a shiny box with nothing inside. But don't worry. This is just the first layer. We're about to dig deeper, because if you think shrinkflation stops at your groceries, you're in for a rude awakening. So let me ask you, how much of your life is shrinkflated? And how much longer are you willing to let it slide? Let's break this down. Shrinkflation isn't just a fluke. It's a quiet tactic, refined and rehearsed, because raising prices outright would raise your suspicion, your anger, but making the package a little lighter, that's a move most people don't notice until they do. It's important to understand this didn't happen overnight. For decades, companies have practiced this art, slipping a few grams off here, a bit of volume there, always testing just how far they can push before you push back. It's a dance of margins, and you're the silent partner. They'll dress it up with fancy words, efficiency, with streamlining, value engineering. But behind those words, a single motive: protect the bottom line. And it's not an accident, it's a choice, an economic strategy that hides in plain sight. But what does it reveal? That the healthy competition we're told about isn't as honest as it seems. In theory, competition should drive innovation, better products, better services. But here, it's about who can make the box look the biggest while giving you the smallest piece of the pie. Who can take the most without tipping you off? And let's be honest, most of us don't catch it at first. We're tired, distracted, focused on the bigger picture: rent, bills, the next day's grind. Who's got the energy to weigh the pasta or count the cookies? That's what they're betting on, that you're too caught up to notice you're getting less for the same. It's not just an economic trick, it's a quiet form of control, because when you accept less there at the checkout, what else do you start accepting less of? Less time for yourself, less space to breathe, less dignity in the day-to-day exchanges that define your life. And don't think it stops at your pantry. It echoes everywhere. Like in that performance review at work where they praise you but can't give you a raise, or that relationship where you give more and more, but the other person keeps giving less. Shrinkflation is a microcosm of a much bigger pattern. It's the culture of taking more while giving back less, dressed up in pretty packaging. So let me ask you, how often do you let them get away with it? When did you last pause and ask, why am I paying the same price for less? And more importantly, where else in my life am I accepting that same trade? Because this isn't just about a chocolate bar. It's a signal, a red flag waving in the background of your everyday choices. It's telling you that you're living in a system that sees you not as a human, but as a consumer to be managed, a system that counts on your silence. And here's the challenge. Will you stay quiet? Or will you start noticing these small betrayals, not just in the aisle, but in the corners of your life? Because next, we're not just talking about the economics of shrinkflation. We're going deeper into the illusions that hold this whole game together. The illusions that make you believe it's normal, natural, even inevitable. So, are you ready? Let's peel back another layer. Let's talk about the illusion of plenty and the uncomfortable truths hiding beneath. Let's dive beneath the numbers. Because shrinkflation, as you've seen, isn't just a numbers game. It's a cultural echo, a reflection of how we value the surface over the substance. And to see that, we need to step back and look at it through a different lens. Think of it like this. Shrinkflation is a mirror of the modern condition. On the outside, everything looks vibrant, colorful, like those bright supermarket shelves calling out to you. But inside, hollow. A performance of abundance, masking a quiet emptiness. That's where philosophy enters the room. Baudrillard would say this is the age of the simulacrum, where what you're consuming isn't real value, it's a copy of a copy, a package of illusions designed to distract you from the truth. Just like that box of cereal that's mostly air, life too can become a performance of fullness, if you're not careful. Or think of Nietzsche always poking at the comfortable lies we tell ourselves. He'd call this an inversion of values. Once we prized authenticity, things that were built to last, that carried the weight of real substance. Now, it's all about the image, the perception, the beautiful facade that hides the shrinking heart within. You can see it everywhere if you're willing to look. That endless buffet of streaming shows that leaves you feeling emptier the more you consume. That Instagram feed packed with curated moments, every shot a performance, every highlight a carefully cut slice of life. They're the digital shrinkflation of your soul. Less meaning, more noise. And in that culture of illusions, shrinkflation is the perfect symbol, a symbol of how we accept half-truths and half-portions without protest. We've become so used to the game that we don't even notice when the rules change. Let's bring it closer to home. When's the last time you felt truly satisfied by what you bought? That new gadget that promised to change your life, but ended up collecting dust. That snack that promised indulgence but left you hungry for something real. Shrinkflation isn't just a trick at the store. It's a metaphor for how we chase what shines instead of what sustains. But here's the question. Why do we keep buying in? Why do we let the illusion seduce us again and again? Part of it is survival. There's comfort in the familiar, even if it's fake. But deeper still, it's that we're taught to equate appearance with worth, to measure life by what's on the label, not what's in the box. It's the same with people too. Think about those forced smiles in the office, those polite nods that hide resentment. It's shrinkflation of the self, trimming away your truth to fit the box they want to see. And that's the uncomfortable truth. When we accept shrinkflation in the products we buy, we're rehearsing for the bigger lies we'll swallow later. It's a quiet agreement. I'll pretend you're giving me enough if you pretend I'm satisfied. But deep down, we're not. We're left hungry, not for calories, but for authenticity, for a life that doesn't feel like it's been weighed and measured for someone else's gain. Here's the gut punch. The more you accept these illusions, the harder it becomes to see past them. You start to doubt your own senses. Maybe this is enough. Maybe I'm just expecting too much. That's how the system wins, by making you question your own hunger for something real. So let me ask you, how often do you settle for the empty package? Not just at the store, but in your relationships, your ambitions, your dreams. How often do you trade depth for decoration, truth for convenience? Because here's the core of it all. Shrinkflation isn't just an economic trick. It's a cultural virus, a sign that we're drifting further from the real and deeper into the bright, hollow show. But if you're willing to see it, if you're willing to call out the illusion, it's the first step back to something real, something that can't be faked or trimmed down for profit. Because next, we're going to peel back the final layer. We're going to look at the bigger picture, how shrinkflation is just a reflection of a world that's lost touch with its own truth, and what that means for all of us. So, are you ready to see the bigger deception? Let's go there together. Let's sit with this for a moment. Shrinkflation, these little thefts, these quiet adjustments, are more than just price tags and profit margins. They're a window into something far more profound, the way we've become alienated from what truly matters, the way we've been trained to accept illusions, so long as they come wrapped in bright colors. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine standing in a crowded supermarket, every shelf stacked with endless choices. But there's a catch. Every choice is the same. Different labels, different brands, but the substance, the same half-empty box, the same hollow promise. You're not really choosing, are you? You're just playing a part in a script that was written for you. That's the alienation I'm talking about. It's not just economic, it's existential. We've become so used to these illusions that we don't even notice how they hollow us out. We settle for less again and again until we start to think that's all we deserve. You see it at work, don't you? The endless cycle of performance reviews and stretch goals where they ask you to give more while giving you less. Or in your relationships, the polite nods and empty gestures that never quite satisfy, but somehow keep you coming back for more. It's the same game, over and over. Less real substance, more show. And here's the most insidious part. Shrinkflation doesn't just cheat you at the checkout line. It teaches you to accept a world that's constantly shrinking your worth. It whispers, be grateful for scraps. It tells you, don't ask for more. It's not your place. But let me ask you, when did you agree to that bargain? When did you decide it was okay to accept less than your worth? Because that's the silent contract you're making every time you ignore the smaller box, the missing weight. Every time you smile politely when they take a little more of your time, a little more of your soul. It's no accident. The system counts on your silence. It counts on your exhaustion. Because the more alienated you feel, the easier you are to control. When you're busy just trying to keep up, you don't have time to question the game. This isn't about products anymore. It's about your life. Shrinkflation is a sign that we're living in a world that's lost touch with real value, human value. A world that tells you to be content with appearances while your substance is slowly drained away. And it's not just an economic effect, it's spiritual. It seeps into how you see yourself. You start to doubt your own hunger for more. You start to wonder if maybe you're the problem. Too demanding, too idealistic. But you're not. You're just awake in a world that wants you asleep. Think about the worker on the assembly line whose hands put together those half-filled packages. Think about the parent who has to choose between two empty choices, night after night. Or the young man who sees his dreams shrink, told to settle for a life that's good enough. These are not just numbers on a balance sheet. They're human lives, cut down, repackaged, and sold back to themselves. That's the real horror of shrinkflation. It's not the grams you lose in your snack. It's the dignity you lose in your soul. It's the quiet agreement to trade truth for comfort, to let them decide how much you're worth. So let me ask you again, where else are you accepting shrinkflation in your life? Where else have you let the illusions of this world cut you down to size? Because here's the hidden truth. Shrinkflation is a symptom of a deeper disease, alienation, a sign that we've become strangers to ourselves and to each other. And until we see it, name it, and refuse to play along, we'll keep paying more and getting less, not just at the checkout, but in every part of our lives. It's a tough pill to swallow, I know, but it's also a chance to stop living like a consumer and start living like a creator. A chance to reclaim what's been quietly stolen from you, your worth, your voice, your truth. So let me leave you with this question. How much of your life are you willing to let be shrinkflated? And how much longer will you let the world decide your value instead of claiming it for yourself? Because the final step is always yours. And the illusions will keep coming, wrapped in shiny packages and hollow promises. But if you can see through them, if you can remember what's real, you've already taken the first step back to yourself. So here we are, standing at the end of this journey. We've unwrapped the bright packages, peeled back the slick marketing, and found the truth hiding in plain sight. Shrinkflation isn't just about chocolate bars or cereal boxes. It's about your life. It's about how you're taught to accept less while paying more, over and over again. We've seen how corporations use these tactics to protect their bottom line, how they train you to believe that less is normal, how they teach you to stop questioning, to keep reaching for that bright hollow box and say, this is enough. But you know it isn't. Deep down, you feel it. That quiet frustration when you hold something in your hand and realize it's smaller, emptier, cheaper, while your effort, your time, your value keeps getting poured out like water. That's the real theft here. It's not just the money, it's the respect you deserve and the fullness you crave. Because here's the truth. If you're willing to accept shrinkflation in what you buy, you'll start to accept it in what you are. That's the danger. That's the cost that never shows up on the receipt. The slow erosion of your sense of worth. The quiet voice in your head that says, maybe this is all I deserve. But it doesn't have to be that way. Because now you see it. Now you know the game. And once you see it, you can start to take it back. You can refuse to play by their rules. You can demand real value, not just bright illusions. You can remember that your life, your work, your dreams are worth more than these half-empty boxes they sell you. So let me ask you, one last time, how much of your life are you willing to let be shrinkflated? How much longer will you let them decide what you're worth? If you're ready to break that cycle, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Comment below with, I'm breaking free, to join others who are waking up and saying no more. Because this is just the start. We're going to keep digging, keep exposing, and keep fighting for the truth that's been hidden for too long. So tell me, are you ready to stop accepting less? Are you ready to reclaim what's been quietly stolen from you?